Hello, welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and
Half an hour ago, I was a white-haired Scotsman. I'm Scott. Hello.
we're all a white-haired Scotsman deep inside. But yes, this week we are talking about the women who fell to Earth in our last stop on our, I guess, revisiting of the essentially 3 reboots that New Who's gone through when the showrunner and the Doctor both changed.
Yeah, it's insane how many reboots we've had.
Yeah. Uh,
This is probably the weakest so far.
yeah,
But
by a fair margin, I think. But before we get into the episode, I've got some fun. I did some fun tidbits again because I enjoyed doing them last week.
oh yeah,
So this episode of The Woman Who Fell to Earth, that's what it's called, isn't it? I'm not misremembering that. Yes.
yes, that's it.
The
Yeah,
Woman Who
titled after the man who fell to Earth, which is a David Bowie film.
I've not seen it.
Which never have I, but I know it's a film.
So this came out on, if you believe it or not, October 7th, 2018, which was like 3 years ago.
Which was when we became friends as well.
Really?
Yeah, like we started class together right around this time.
That's insane.
Like the first thing we bonded over was the new episodes of Doctor Who as they were coming out.
Bonding over how terrible they are.
Wow.
Mixed bag for season 1 at least. So I was looking into what happened on that day of October 7th, 2018, and I remember last time I cut out, I like mentioned 2 things because a lot of it was like, oh, a lot of people died. Basically,
Yes.
the only thing that happened on October 7th was people died.
Great. Always good to hear.
Yep, China confirmed it detained Interpol chief Meng Hongwei, who resigned from his position after he was reported missing. So that's fun. Love.
That's a valid reason to resign.
There was a limousine crash killing 20 people in New York. The world's wonderful. The only good thing was that Romanian referendum to ban same-sex marriage failed, with only 20% of people voting. I guess voting for it or voting in general. Really bad voting turnout if it's voting in general, but banning same-sex marriage is dumb and stupid, and I'm glad it didn't work.
That's great, yeah. Anything else happen? Any good?
There was no good news. The only good news was Jodie Whittaker debuts in her first full episode as the 13th and first female Doctor on BBC television. But
Whoa, really? I didn't know there was a female Doctor. Since when?
yeah,
Wow, I am shocked.
interestingly, the top 10 movies. I'm not going to go through all 10 of them because some of them I've not even heard of. But do you want to guess what number 1 was at the box office?
I actually know this one. It's Venom, isn't it?
It is Venom. Venom was number 1 at the box office. It's pretty, it wasn't that long ago. It's pretty easy to remember. I've not seen Venom, though.
It's a solid okay. Tom Hardy bathes himself in a lobster tank at one point. That happened.
So it's
I can't remember the rest of the movie.
Film of the century.
Yeah. I can't remember a single thing that happened though.
Some interesting ones though that are in the top 10. Number 2 is A Star Is Born, which I did see in cinema. Yeah, it is a good movie. It's one of the ones that'll make you cry. It's also a movie that's been remade like 4 times.
Yeah, every 20 years.
Yeah. Number 3 was Smallfoot, which I remember the trailer of. Don't remember seeing. Never heard anyone talk about it. Surprised it did so well.
It came out around that time, like Abominable as well. Like there's a whole avalanche of like Yeti and Bigfoot movies.
Yeah. It's weird how things line up like that. It's like Armageddon and what's it called?
Deep Impact.
Yeah, Deep Impact coming out in the same like month.
Yeah.
Number 5, another movie I've seen is A House with a Clock in Its Walls. Jack Black movie.
Yes, I've only seen the creepy gif of the baby Jack Black. You know that actual robot exists. It's so creepy.
I remember very little about this movie other than it's very long. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
For a kids film?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Another kids film that was super long, just fucking Wreck-It Ralph 2. That movie just didn't end for me. But yeah, other than that, the only other movie of real note is number 10, The Predator.
I never saw that.
Oh my god, you're lucky. I was really excited for The Predator. I really like Shane Black. I was like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do a good one. You know, out of everybody, I think Shane Black could do it, and it's dreadful. It's so bad.
I've only seen the first Predator, and I did not like it, so
Oh,
I never
wow.
I never bothered seeing any of the other ones.
I was gonna say the only Predator you need to watch is the first one because it's the best one, but not liking it.
I'm sorry.
Blasphemy. I mean, it's not as good as Alien, but it's fine. It's definitely aged a lot worse than Alien did.
Yeah, definitely.
But my last little tidbit, there wasn't a lot. The top song for this week in 7th of October 2018. It's another song I've never heard of.
Go on.
Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD. Or Juice WRLD.
What is it spelling in it?
WRLD for world.
Nice.
Juice
It's
WRLD.
like adding Z to Kids Bop.
It just makes you hip. It makes you hip and cool.
Ugh.
Not a song I've heard of. Or not even an artist I've heard of. You heard of it?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Nope.
But that's it. That's all I have for the tidbits. It was a relatively quiet week besides all the death and destruction that was happening.
And us being friends.
Yeah.
Yay.
I said the death and destruction bit, right?
Ouch. Podcast cancelled.
But I guess we can move on into the... did you do your lovely writers
Yes.
stuff?
This time it isn't as interesting as last time.
Oh, man.
So Chris Chibnall was born in 1970. He studied theatre and film at the University of Sheffield. His first foot into the Doctor Who world was when he appeared on TV criticising Trial of a Time Lord. Do you remember? Have you ever seen these clips of like a 16-year-old Chibnall
I've not.
criticizing? You should go and watch it right now.
If you send me the link to it, I shall.
Give me a second. Chibnall.
Although, you know, the fact that Chibnall can publicly ridicule Doctor Who and then still get a job running Doctor Who gives me a lot of hope for the future. Because that's the dream, isn't it? Everyone says they can do Doctor Who better, but you want to be the chance to prove it.
Add this clip into the podcast.
I will.
This is a 16-year-old Chibnall criticizing Trial of a Time Lord.
He looks amazing.
He looks a bit like you.
It could have been a lot better. It could have been slightly better written, especially the last story. Well, not only that, but it was also very cliched. It was very routine, running up and down corridors and silly monsters. It was perhaps a little too routine Doctor Who, very much what the audience is expecting. It's not really very challenging for them to watch. Well, it was the story itself has been done in a different way in the past few years, very much a whodunit on board a space liner, and a very traditional sort of thing that people will expect Doctor Who to fall into. But I still felt that story was fairly boring.
He seems so nervous, which is kind of cute.
His criticisms have backfired against him. Everybody uses these clips as a way to criticize his era of a show.
Yeah, there's the top comment here is believe me, Chris, you definitely have made the show challenging to watch.
But yeah, I bet you he wishes the internet didn't exist, so he could just run the show in peace.
Oh, I bet everyone that ever has to run a show wishes that. There's quite often times where I think we'd be better off without the internet.
Well, we wouldn't be able to do this show,
I
would
know,
we?
there's obvious benefits to it, you know, but there's some bad shit. Like,
Yeah.
what else have we got on Chibnall?
So he started as a football archivist and Sky Sports floor manager. I mean, he wound up working for the theatre between 1988 and 2004. Nothing we would know. In 2001, he got his first job in television, and it was like a 1950s period drama called Born and Bred, which lasted for 4 seasons. Never heard of it, have you?
Nope, never heard of it. I mean, well, I was 1 in 2001, so...
You make me feel so old.
Born and Bred is apparently a bakery. So, if you ever fancy a pastry, there we go. Born and Bred, 2002 drama. Father and son serve in 1950s Lancaster village. It certainly looks like a BBC/ITV show.
Yeah, it sounds very dull.
Yeah.
So in 2005, he started developing a series called Merlin for the BBC, but the series was never greenlit, and they eventually wound up making a different Merlin show, but without him.
Yeah, did you ever watch the Merlin show?
I must have watched it for like a season.
Yeah.
And then I gave it was very generic and very dull.
See, I watched it. I remember watching it when it first came out, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was like 5 or 6, so because I was watching it around the same time as Doctor Who, or it was on when Doctor Who wasn't on. Like it filled that slot.
Yeah, they alternated.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I would watch, and I think I watched season 1, maybe season 2, and then just kind of stopped watching it. But like, apparently the show gets really good at like season 3 onward, and it gets really like dark and mature. But like, those first seasons are rough. Like, I've tried rewatching the show multiple times to like try and get into it and get to these good seasons, and I just can't do it.
Doesn't John Hurt voice a dragon in it?
He does voice a dragon. He voices a fully CGI dragon, which is a bold commitment for a 2006 show.
I bet he doesn't appear much.
He appears every episode, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's an okay show. Pretty big cast now. The main guy in it, the guy who played Merlin, his face I recognize, name I don't know.
He's also in Midnight,
Merlin.
the Doctor Who episode.
Yes, he is. What's his name?
He has a very odd face.
He's a very... Yeah. Colin Morgan. That's his name. Mr. Colin Morgan. What's he done since... let's see. Colin Morgan films. Anything that apparently he's in Legend. I don't remember him in Legend.
What is Legend?
It's
again?
the story with Tom Hardy about where he's playing twins.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Cray
Christopher
twins?
Eccleston is in that, isn't he?
Oh god.
Remember Christopher Eccleston?
Well,
he's also in it.
Apparently, I don't remember the movie Legend. Fucking Colin Morgan's not done that much since Merlin, which is, I mean, he's probably done a lot of theatre. To be fair, that's usually what happens.
Yeah, that's where everybody ends up after Doctor Who or before Doctor Who, and
after a BBC show.
But yeah, he didn't really do much. But in 2006, Chibnall became the head writer for Torchwood, which you haven't seen.
I've not seen any Torchwood. I'm sure we're going to cover it. We're definitely going to cover it on the podcast. But no, I've never watched, because Torchwood had 2 runtimes, if I remember. It had like the kids runtime, where they would edit some stuff, and then it had the mature runtime where they would show the swear words and the blood and stuff. And I never watched either.
It's a show you should the first 3 seasons are great. I mean, the 4th season is like, we moved to America, and Newman from Seinfeld is in it, and Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters is like in it for a few episodes, and it's like, why?
That sounds amazing.
It's not good. So anyway, while he was doing Torchwood, he also wrote some Doctor Who episodes between 2007 and 2012. He wrote 42, The Hungry Earth 2-parter, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, And my favourite episode out of the 4 is The Power of 3. So what do you think of these episodes?
42, I had to look up because I didn't remember what it was. I remember really enjoying this episode when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's a quiz show episode. It's like we have to solve a quiz to... I can't remember it too much, but we had to solve a quiz, didn't we?
I don't remember much of it either. I remember the doctor's glowing eyes. I remember that being fucking scary as shit.
It kind of blends together with the first Ood episode for me.
Yeah, a very similar color palette and location to the first Ood episode. And then what did you say was after 42?
The Hungry Earth two-parter, the first episode of the Silurians in the new series.
I really, really enjoyed that two-parter.
Remember when they go visit 2020? They wave to the other Amy and Rory.
Yeah, that. Yeah, you fucking can't interrupt your own time stream or interact with yourself. But fuck it, you can wave.
And also, they went to 2020 of all years.
I know. What? Well, at least they were socially distanced as they were waving at one another.
That's a good point.
But no, I really enjoyed the Hungry Earth. I really like it when Doctor Who brings back classic monsters and revamps them. And again, it's Matt Smith at peak Matt Smith doing fantastic stuff. And then after
After Hunger Games was Dinosaurs in a Spaceship with Rory's dad.
Yeah, Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, probably the weakest one out of that lot that he's written. It's fine. It's the best bit about it is Rory's dad's fantastic.
Also David Bradley was in it. He was great.
Yeah. But Rory's dad, he shines the most for me. It's probably the most fun Doctor Who, where it's like there's dinosaurs on a spaceship. Were
the dinosaurs convincing? Because I don't remember the dinosaurs at all.
They were clearly big puppets.
Yeah.
But they were decent looking puppets,
Fair.
I think for Doctor Who it looks good.
Remember Primeval, the show about
yes!
dinosaurs
Oh my
trying
God.
to compete?
Yes, I remember.
They never did the dinosaurs well, and we made an entire show about dinosaurs.
See, I used to watch a lot of Primeval. That's the same time as Merlin and stuff that was coming out.
I watched it until they moved to Canada. I mean, it kind of got off the trails.
Oh,
I need to revisit it.
I probably watched 1 or 2 seasons of it. Because when you're a kid, you don't really watch regular TV that often. You're if it's on, you'll enjoy it, and you're not following really episode to episode. So I don't know how much of it I've seen, but I remember enjoying Primeval. There was just a slate of TV back then that was really fun and weird. And then what was the last one after Dinosaurs in a Spaceship?
The Power of 3 is the one with the cubes, and there's a countdown.
God. That is the best Chibnall episode. Yeah.
It's great.
It's so good. Again, Matt Smith, fantastic in it. The cubes thing's so good. Just watching Matt Smith's Doctor have to sit and wait for a couple of hours, that entire montage is fantastic.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't comment on the quality of it, but I remember the third act kind of falling apart near the end. But overall, it's a really fun concept.
Yeah, I don't remember what happens in the third act either. I just remember the general vibe of the episode and the fun stuff that happens. And it's a solid script. I think it's one of Matt Smith's best episodes, really.
Yeah. So after his time on Torchwood is beginning to end, Dick Wolf, the creator of Law and Order, approached him to develop Law and Order UK, which basically remade episodes of Law and Order but contextualized them to the UK audience. The show starred Freema Agyeman, who we know as Martha, Bradley Walsh, and Peter Davison. But after season 1, he kind of left, and Peter Davison came in during season 5, so he wasn't responsible for Peter Davison joining the show. So he got 2 Doctor Who actors in the show. Well, one of them wasn't a Doctor Who actor at the time, but still.
I'd never seen an episode of Law and Order, and I didn't know there was a UK version.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where we just remade episodes. Like, there's no original episode.
It must have been cheap to make. And it's like, it doesn't really matter how well it does in the ratings. They can just fill a time slot. Like,
it lasted for about 8 seasons.
that's crazy. That's a long time, especially for a show I've never heard of. Like,
I just remember at the time just seeing pictures of Peter Davison and Freema Anjuman together, being like, "Oh, the Doctor and his companion," as always happens. And speaking of the Doctor and his companion, in 2013, he created Broadchurch.
Yeah.
David Tennant, Olivia Colman, Arthur Darvill, Jodie Whittaker, and Eve Miles and David Bradley apparently also appeared in it.
basically, like,
So
if you weren't on Doctor Who before Broadchurch, after Broadchurch, you were definitely going to be on Doctor Who.
You've been watching Broadchurch, haven't you?
I have. I'm currently on season 3, and I started the show like a couple days ago. It's only 8 episodes a season, but it's 40 minutes an episode, which is rare for me to get through. And I think it's some of Chibnall's best writing. Like, all the performances are great in it, but the writing is so good. And there's such a, like, because I've been watching a lot of it, like, back to back, and then we watched The Woman Who Fell to Earth, so I've just been consuming Chibnall material recently. There's just a weird change in style for him, and obviously they're very different shows, Doctor Who and Broadchurch, but he handles Broadchurch really well for the most part. Every now and then it's a bit of cringe dialogue or whatever, or weird motivation. In the first season, there's this weird thing with a psychic, and I really didn't understand what the fucking point was. But but no, Broadchurch's really good. And if you have BritBox, like me, you can watch all of it, so you might as well. BritBox is a decent streaming service, man.
I need to watch. I need to get into it. I also need to get BritBox.
Yeah, it's
for classic Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's got so much obscure British TV on it. It's like, and then like also the David Tennant has murdered someone shows, which there are lots of.
He also did Des, didn't he?
Yeah, he also did another one. What was it called? Was it White House Farm? No, it wasn't White House Farm.
He did a movie called Bad Samaritan, which he's also a serial killer. He's trying to kill Klaus.
He's also in the first episode of Criminal on Netflix.
Oh yeah, and he's also in Jessica Jones.
He loves murdering folk, that David Tennant.
Or raping in the case of Jessica Jones.
Yeah. Gets around. Loves playing the...
That was a depressing season.
I only ever watched season 1 of Jessica Jones.
So did I, but it was kind of depressing.
I thought it was fantastic, but David Tennant shone so high above everyone else in that show. And then I watched one episode of season 2 and I went, I'm not getting into this.
Yeah, after the Defenders, the Marvel shows on Netflix kind of really went downhill, which is a shame because when Daredevil came out, it was like the biggest thing.
It was so good.
And then I never even saw season 3 of Daredevil when he came back to life. And
yeah, same.
I just gave up after the Defenders. Like, they killed Sigourney Weaver halfway through that series, and I was like, fuck it, I'm done.
I never even got onto the Defenders. I watched 2 seasons of Daredevil, I think half a season of Punisher, half a season of Luke Cage, a few episodes of Iron Fist.
That show was the worst. I think that was the
turning point when but yeah, like their shows always started really well, and then obviously because Disney were setting up their own stuff, they stopped caring about it and started cancelling them. But yeah, it's a shame, and I'm never going to go back to them because Disney really want to keep their distance.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on the topic of Broadchurch, like, it's the only show Chibnall has done that's been remade in America and French. But the American version has David Tennant not reprising his character, but he's basically playing the same character with a different name, and it's the same plot, but there's different twists. It's like really bizarre. He did it between seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's when you told me about this, I was like, that's weird. And then I looked it up, and the show was called Grace Point, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like reading a few articles on it, and it was like when people ask like, why are you doing the show in America? They're like, oh, we're it's the same, but we're gonna have a different ending. And I was just like, any other ending than the ending of season 1, it really changes the show, and 2 would kind of be shit, because the whole twist in season 1 is you don't see it coming.
It really doesn't make sense. Like, Broadchurch could have been a big hit in America. You could have just imported the show.
Yeah,
but to not only do a remake, but also cast half of your lead characters, like,
and make him do an American
why?
accent.
Why?
Yeah, it's weird. That's such a weird choice. But studios, man, what are you gonna do?
But anyway, in 2016, Moffat announced he's leaving Doctor Who, and Chibnall was to replace him. Chibnall always wanted a female doctor, and Jodi was his #1 choice, and that's it for our history.
Wow.
Not much to say. It's a bit of a boring history compared to the other ones, but hey.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that Chibnall, because I had never seen that video of him. It's nice seeing that he does actually care about Doctor Who.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And rather than just, he's just a writer who doesn't put that much effort into, which you can get with some of his fucking episodes. But
his best episode in the Doctor Who universe is an episode of Torchwood called Adrift, and I cannot wait to get to that point because it's incredible and you need to watch it. I can't even tell you too much about it because it's one of those episodes with a major twist.
It's
like
I'm
excited.
I really want to like Chibnall, but I think right now I think he equals out good and bad scripts. Like
That's fair.
And annoyingly, I think his newer scripts are his worst. He was much better 5-6 years ago writing Doctor Who. But shall we move on to the episode?
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Let's kick it off. Let's go on to The Woman Who Fell to Earth. The episode opens up with Ryan chatting on YouTube about something. I forget what he was chatting about. I think.
When did you watch his episode? Like
an hour, like 2 hours ago, like very recently. But he's chatting. I think about his dyspraxia.
He's talking about Grace mostly.
Yeah.
But as an audience,
we don't know that
initially.
Yet.
We think he's talking about the Doctor to begin with.
Mm-hmm. But there's just a few things I want to chat about, because it opens up with darkness and we just hear his voice, and then we see the YouTube page. And he's got his YouTube video called Hey, which is just terrible for the algorithm. He's never going to get
it really
picked
is.
Up. He's got 19 views, hilariously 2 dislikes.
When he's talking about his dead grandma.
Yeah. He's rocking 37 subscribers, but it's the YouTube videos on the recommended page that I really...
Also, before we get to that, he has an amazing reach. Like, he has 19 views, 12 people like it, 2 people dislike. I mean, almost everyone either liked it or disliked it.
It's super active community. It's a small community, but they're active. But the recommended videos is Grumpy Office Blog, Weekly Complaining Bulletin, which has 110,000 views. Blogging...
Accurate for... that title is accurate for the Doctor Who community now. Grumpy Office Blog.
Blogging with Izzy, Episode 1, Things Not to Do When Blogging, 167,000 views. Secret Pigeon, Blogging Secrets Unbeatable Guide to Success. Top 10 Tips for Blogging Success, Part 1. How to Make Money Through Blogging, pound guaranteed. Zoif's World, Part 6 of 20, Cake. My question here is, when has anyone on YouTube used the word blog since 2010?
Yes, I know. That was my thoughts as well. It's like, it's vlog. Like, who edited this episode?
This is clearly written by a 40-something-year-old person that's never used YouTube.
And also, when you do a video about your grandma's death, the recommended videos won't be all about how to do blogs.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works.
Unless whoever's watching this video really wants to know how to do blogs, and so the algorithm's just recommending that, and they've just stumbled into this rabbit hole of like this like dead teenager's grandma, and that was another thing that completely. I was just thinking, I completely forgot about Ryan's character. He's 19.
Yeah, it's never really brought up again. Like,
he also doesn't look or act 19.
how old is the actor?
I have no idea. Let's look it up.
He was born in 1992. He's 28.
Yeah, so he's like, what, when this came out, 26.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, so, yeah, doesn't play 19, doesn't look 19.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd choice.
Yeah, but, I guess, Rose, she was like 19, and she didn't really look 19 either.
How old was... Now I need to find out how old was
Billie Piper was back in 2005, yeah.
1982, she would have been about 23? 24? So not that far.
Yeah, close enough.
It's roughly around about the same age.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what it is, but just the guy that plays Ryan doesn't pull it off as well. But to be fair, it's never brought up again, is it? It's like...
No, yeah.
But after we hear him chat about his blog, we're cut to the cliffside where he's with Graham and... Is it Grace?
Yes, Grace.
Yes, where he's with Graham and Grace, and he's learning how to ride a bike because he's dyspraxic and he doesn't know how to ride a bike. I have a few friends that have dyspraxia. Never talked to them about Doctor Who. Just from what I've heard from listening to other podcasts about Doctor Who, apparently the show didn't handle Ryan's dyspraxia super well.
Right, in what way?
I don't know. All I know is they didn't handle it super well. I mean, to be fair, they never really bring it up.
Yeah, they never bring it up unless... Like, the opening of season 12 begins with him, like, trying to learn how to play basketball.
Yeah.
And then his character arc is what he learns how to... Remember the Cyberman heads at the end of the season?
Oh my god.
He learns how to throw one of them away, and that's his character arc.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? When at the end of the Dalek episode, he finally rides his bike and his ghost grandma's there.
I choose not to believe in Ghost Grandma. But, yeah, so Ryan's learning how to ride a bike. He does it for a wee bit. We get some tension between him and Graham, where he's like, "You're not my real granddad, Graham." And he's like, "Oh, but I want to be. This is going to be our arc."
To be honest, it's probably the best arc of a season.
It's the only real
really
arc in the
like
season. It's really the only arc.
True.
But Ryan falls off his bicycle, and in frustration, he absolutely fucking lobs it off a cliff. He just fucking picks it up and chucks it.
I mean, it gets stuck up a tree somehow.
Yeah, and it gets stuck up a tree. And Graham and Grace tell him he's got to go fetch it himself because they're way off home. He's like, God.
They tell him sitting on the edge of a cliff, but the guy doesn't have good balance. Yeah, so he could have easily fallen over.
Yeah, they're like, come sit
to his death.
Yeah, and then he's like, go climb down it yourself. We're going home.
They abandoned him as well. Like, you just see them on the train later without him. Like, why?
Yeah, they're wonderful grandparents. He's only 19.
And he's really upset. Just he can't ride a bike. Comfort him. Like.
Yep. But we follow Ryan down the cliff as he's searching for his bike. He finds it up a tree and he's like, it's so close, but I can't get it. And then I think one of the nicest looking effects Doctor Who has ever had shows up.
This whole episode already looks very beautiful. Like, they upgraded the cameras and it already looks so much better than it did previously.
Leaps and bounds. I remember watching it when it first came out and being like, oh, they gave this a budget. Like,
I watched it on my 55-inch television. It just looks great.
it is.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, and like the lighting specifically for the effects, they're using practical lighting on their faces, so you get an accurate like reading and stuff, and it adds so much. And there's SFX budget as well has gone through the roof. There's like 2 bad looking effects I noticed in this episode, and the rest were stellar. Like stellar. But this weird glowing like cube moving box thing, I don't know how to describe it, shows up. Does Ryan touch? Ryan? I think he touches it.
Yeah, he touches the light at one point when the light reveals like a Hershey's Kisses kind of thing.
It looks like a giant sweet in the thing, and immediately he touches it. Now, this was something I was thinking about. If a giant alien pod appeared in front of you, would you touch it with your whole palm? Would you just go...
Probably not.
Because Ryan...
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think I'd touch it with my whole palm, but Ryan's a brave boy and he full-on slaps it. Like...
But it's the same thing Rose did when she met the Dalek in Dalek. So it's a common thing in Doctor Who, I guess.
There's a lot of parallels between Ryan and Rose that we're picking up on here.
They both have the letter R. And,
yeah, they're both 19.
No, never mind.
They're both. They're both, but the giant Hershey's Kiss comes along, he gives it a big ol' slap, and it's like, ouch, that hurt my hand. It was so cold? That's what they said? It makes it look like it's super hot, but that's just because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. We then cut to our introduction of Yaz for the first time, after Ryan calls the police. And
I forgot she's a police officer.
Don't worry, so does the show. It's so... Like, maybe this new season that's coming out, because Yaz is the only companion that stuck around, they'll do something with there being a police officer in a time-traveling police box. But so far, they've done nothing with it.
Like the Doctor basically solves crime every episode. Like, have Yaz solve a crime at some point or something.
Or arrest someone. You know, use her.
Yeah.
There's so many situations where she could legitimately arrest someone as a police officer and use her authority, and they
like she's introduced in this episode wanting to solve something bigger than pointless parking disputes.
Yeah, you can have a whole arc with her. You know, like maybe it's a 3-season arc. You know, maybe it's a really detailed 3-season arc. But Yaz is solving a dispute between 2 women who smashed up each other's cars, essentially. And she's like, you're both dumb. I'm going home. She calls up her boss and's like, I want serious cases, as we just discussed. And he's like, you're not ready for serious cases. You're new on the force. And then he's like, but you want something weird. And so he gives her the call to go see Mr. Ryan. She's staring at it. And if I was her, my first thought would be, oh, it's an art exhibit.
Yeah. Or something just crazy like that, yeah.
Yeah. But they're there, and then they end up reconnecting. Because it turns out, small world, Yaz went to primary school with Ryan, was it?
Yeah, then they don't talk like that ever again. It's not like...
Yeah.
It's not like they ever go like, oh, remember when we did something with Mr. Young in his computing class?
Yeah, that it would help us in this situation.
Yeah.
There's also a weird line here, in this scene only, where Yaz says something, and she's like, come on, it's me. I'm like, you guys haven't spoken in like 10 years. You went to primary school together. Like, what?
Yeah. It's a pointless...
You have no relationship.
A pointless connection.
Yeah. But Yaz then also full-on palm touches the fucking Hershey alien pod to double-check that it is, in fact, cold, which it is. We then cut to the train where Graham and Grace are, I guess, getting it on.
We really just left Ryan behind.
They did.
Like,
they didn't.
why?
They didn't care. They were like, "Fuck it, we're getting on a train." Also, it's inexplicably pitch black
Yeah.
outside. It's like broad daylight when we're in the woods, and then we cut to pitch black. We're on a train.
Yeah, I'm presuming they're different at different times of the day, I guess.
Yeah, it's a massive leap forward. That train station was really far away, which just makes you wonder why they abandoned Ryan as much as they
exactly.
But Grace is like snuggling up to Graham, and Graham's a bit uncomfortable. They're getting looked at by a guy. I really liked Grace in this episode. Even like I liked her the first time watching it. I really liked her this time.
So did I. She's very lovely. I want to just hug her.
Yeah, and you know it makes it more sad than what happens at the end. But I kind of wish she was a companion. She has a lot more personality than any of the other companions.
Yeah, I really like how she's always up for walking into danger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's something that's needed for the show rather than all the characters just being exposition.
Oh, there's a lot of that in this episode. There's a lot of just let's walk in exposition for a while.
But it works for the first episode.
I saw a thing. It was like a YouTube clip that YouTube recommended to me because the algorithm is like, oh, here's a bunch of Doctor Who stuff because you've been talking about Doctor Who recently. And it was from the Rosa Parks episode. And it is a clip of Yaz getting onto a bus and talking, like asking questions for about 5 minutes and no one replies.
Oh my god.
And I was like, how the fuck did I not notice that the first time? That's insane. She's just standing there like giving exposition and talking to herself out loud. And then it was like memed a bit. It like super zoomed in on Jodi's face looking awkward as fuck. But yeah, the show gets like, that's a pretty decent episode, the Rosa Parks episode as well, basides the space traveling Nazis that do nothing.
Like it could have been a bigger conflict if like Graham saw the racism, wanted to do something about it because he wanted to protect his grandson, and he gets told to not deal with racism because it could have been really complicated like that.
But
you know what I mean?
Yeah, instead it's time traveling Nazis that never come back and are never mentioned again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the power goes out on the train, and everyone's like, "Oh no, what's happening?" And a bunch of people run off the train, just into the wilderness, I guess, because everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
They just.
I'm in the train locks.
Yeah, but Graham, Grace, and this random guy, who is special. He is very special. He's a special man.
He's like Jeff.
They're trapped on the train, and there's something sinister afoot, and they're hearing weird noises, and then they see, which is what I think is a really cool looking effect for this first shot, and then it looks kind of iffy in the second shot, of that like spiraling tentacle cable monster thing.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
It looks
really
so cool
it.
when it was like barreling towards them in that first shot. Which, you know, it helped. It was like low lighting and stuff like that. But it's one of the really cool looking Doctor Who monsters. And then Jodie Whittaker explodes through the roof of the train and comes up completely unharmed.
And when the Doctor Who theme starts playing for a bit.
Yeah. I didn't like the theme.
I love it. I love it.
Really? I think it's... I didn't think it fit there. There was something... It just sounded weird. I think it's fine for the intro credits and stuff like that. It's not my favorite one.
Right.
But I didn't like it in this scene. It felt weird to me. What it needed is "I Am the Doctor." Oh
God!
That,
Don't.
that needed to play there.
I swear to God.
But Jodie comes in and she's all. This is our first impression of Jodie as the Doctor. And I think she's good still. I still really like her as the Doctor. She's a lot of energy. She reminds me a lot of Matt Smith combined with David Tennant's Doctor.
Yeah, I definitely get more of a Matt Smith vibe to her. Mm-hmm. Which is fine, but I'd rather have her do something a bit more original.
Yeah,
but it hasn't...
Like, the thing that I got watching this episode is Chibnall wrote a lot of Matt Smith episodes. That was most of the Doctor Who ones he wrote. It's someone trying to sound like Moffat in early Moffat Doctor Who. It's like Jodie will stick her finger up her nose and be like, oh, this is a good nose, and as she'll be like all hyper and active, it'd be like, oh, it's this. Whereas like every Doctor before then has had their very own distinct personality.
Even Matt Smith was like borrowing a lot off of Patrick Troughton.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Patrick Troughton is that he hadn't been on the show for like 40 years, so it felt more fresh when he did it. But with Jodie Whittaker, it was like Matt Smith just regenerated like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
like we've seen this before.
Yeah, and for a lot of people who skipped Capaldi, it's all they've seen.
I still really like Jodie though. She's really good.
I think Jodie's a really good Doctor, especially in those few brief moments where she's given a good script and a good dialogue, and she really shines. She definitely has had some bad moments, particularly the not wanting to talk to Graham about his cancer.
Yeah.
Is that the Cyberman episode?
No, I think it's the big mental health episode they had. I think so.
I don't remember.
It was the one of the guy whose fingers came off and it floated around in the air.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. That I
think it was.
That and her working with Nazis are her two biggest weak points as the Doctor.
Yeah, all in the same season as well.
Yeah. The Doctor using race as a way to defeat her enemies really doesn't fit well with me. I
can see where they were going, because the Master is kind of like a hateful person, and I guess it's sort of like have a taste of your own medicine kind of thing, but it's still a bit...
It's a bit, lowbrow for the Doctor to do that.
Especially in like 2020.
Yeah.
Nazis are still really, really strong.
Yeah. Making a comeback even.
Yeah.
The Doctor comes through. She doesn't really remember anything. She doesn't even remember she's the Doctor. She doesn't remember what her tongue is called. And she's very hyperactive, and they're like, look out for the monster thing. And she's like, oh, cool, no problem. Grabs a piece of loose electric and stabs the monster, which, like, fair dues. Okay, it worked. And that made the monster retreat for now. It comes back. I don't know really where it went after they did that. I guess it ran away. And then they're investigating on the train for a while. See, I'm looking at it right now because I'm just going through the timeline on BBC iPlayer, and like I don't remember what anyone was saying in this scene.
It was a lot of, who are you? Who are you?
What's happening? Is it aliens? Do you think it's aliens? I don't think it's aliens, but he thinks it's aliens.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of Graham not believing in aliens, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. There was the great line I liked from the guy whose name I don't know, but he kept saying he was special as a way to reassure himself, where he's like, I agree with him. We don't have aliens in Sheffield.
His name is Carl.
Carl. I was like, yeah, that's a fun line. That's a fun Doctor Who line. But they get off the train at some point after chatting for a while, and they all get into Yaz's car, except Carl, who decides, you know what, I'm on the night shift. I'm off to work. And they all go to investigate where the giant gumdrop was, the Hershey's Kiss even, and it's not there anymore. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
And then we cut to a man in a van who's taken the thing. And how did he get it?
Yeah, because the whole point was they couldn't touch it because it was very cold. Like, I guess he used like a forklift or something. I don't know.
But it's in the middle of the woods. How did he get it into his van?
I can also presume it's like it weighs a ton as well.
Yeah, it's got like a guy in it.
They used magic, okay?
A wizard did it. A wizard did it, yeah.
Yes.
And he got it into his van. and he takes it to a warehouse where this guy who I guess helped him do it is like, what do you even need this for? Don't do it. And he's like, go away, you. And he's like, okay, I will. And he goes away. It's a lot.
That's a pretty good summary.
It's
yes.
basically what happened. And then he fucking sets up a camera, and he starts watching the pod. We cut
It
back.
reminds me of, you won't know this, but it reminds me of Twin Peaks, the opening of season 3, where they're watching a giant cube and we're just sitting there waiting when Kyle MacLachlan comes out. You won't know it, but listeners might know it.
We cut back to the fam, as they'll become referred to. And
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't like the fam as a. It feels forced more than anything.
Yeah, I can see where they were coming from, because companion sounds a bit outdated. It sounds a bit too, you know what I mean?
I guess it's just because I've been watching Doctor Who since it came back, so I know it as companion. But like, even if you're an older Doctor Who fan, you call it assistant still. So.
Well, it's always been a companion, but people who don't watch the show call them assistants. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I prefer companion to fam any fucking day of the week. But the gang splits up to get some information. Graham had the line, if you want to know something, chat to a bus driver. I used to be a bus driver, and I still would be if it wasn't for ... Ooh.
I love the whole running bit for the bus drivers. It's like the best part of the season.
Yeah, it's fun. What I liked is when it cuts to him chatting to the bus driver next, and he's like, have you seen anything unusual? And he's like, oh, my wife's at karaoke, if that's what you mean. And it's like, in what world would that be what he means?
It's accurate to how bus drivers speak. Like, I've been on the bus where a bus driver sees another bus driver, and we have a conversation with the windows open. It's exactly what we would say to each other.
Some good bus driver on bus driver action.
They always give a thumbs up to each other as well. They're always like, yeah,
hey,
I can see you.
We're driving buses. Yaz goes to the police station to see if she can get any more leads, which I don't know why she think that would work. Her boss is a dick.
Before we go there, there's a point where the doctor gets really tired, and Grace is like, hey, you should go to the A&E. And then the doctor says she never goes anywhere that's just initials. What is the TARDIS?
Oh my god, I thought the exact thing. I thought the exact same thing. As soon as that line was said, I was like, TARDIS.
Exactly.
TARDIS is just initials. What are you on about? To be fair to Jodie's doctor, she's technically not been on the TARDIS yet.
True, she got chucked out at the end of the last episode.
Yeah. And even at the end of this episode, she doesn't get back into it. But yeah, Yaz goes to the police station to try and get some leads. She doesn't get any because her boss is a dick and basically tells her to fuck off. We cut back to the man watching Pod, and the pod starts to crack and burst open. And it's the design of the pod is kind of dumb. You know, it looks like a Hershey's Kiss. The actual practical effect of the pod, it looks cool. It's so big and physical. Like, it makes you want to place your whole palm on it. But it's a good looking prop. I'll give it that. But the boy starts to crack open. There's steam and smoke everywhere, and I don't think we see what comes out. It just kind of bursts open. Yeah, we don't see what comes out off it. Jodi fucking been asleep on the couch for a while, which I like. You know, I like that theme for Doctor Who whenever the Doctor regenerates, which we've seen reoccurring now. Is regenerating fucking exhausting as shit, and it makes the Doctor want to sleep. Though Jodie's Doctor sleeps for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, she does.
Barely rests at all. Whereas like fucking Tennant was out half an episode.
Same with Pertwee. Pertwee was out most of his first episode.
Yeah. But I enjoy that at least stayed consistent, and she slept a little bit, and she did the thing where it's like, pah, and you see the little regeneration. They do that all the fucking time.
They also do. They also have to have the TARDIS being crash landed on Earth. Like, this is like the third time they've done it. It's getting kind of tiresome at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, the Doctor, I get why it happens. It's easy to make a reset. The Doctor regenerates in a safe space, and the regeneration has to be this big, like, almost cinematic event where everything gets shattered, so the TARDIS is always going to be shattered. But yeah, it would be fun to see the Doctor regenerate in a really dangerous situation.
Like when he regenerated in a morgue in the TV movie. Remember that?
Yeah. Or like if you have a new Doctor, regenerate in the middle of a Dalek ship. Fuck it, And then you just blown a big hole in the side of the ship. You've got Daleks everywhere, and you don't know your own name, and also you want to sleep.
That would be great.
That would be really...
They kind of did that in Patrick Troughton's first episode, Power of the Daleks.
Again, I've not seen a lot of Classic Who, but basically,
We'll get there.
basically, all you're saying is I would be the best Classic Who writer ever. I'm coming up with all the ideas. But Jodi bursts awake on the couch, holding her collarbone. I don't remember what makes her wake up. Is it just the pain? Because they've all...
She says, "Who woke me up?" But I think it's just the realization that something's wrong.
Right.
Like a sixth sense kind of thing. Because obviously everybody has their collar
tagged.
bomb inside
Yeah, they've
them.
got a DNA bomb, and like Jodi spurts out the biggest fucking exposition on what it is. She's like, it's a DNA bomb. It's going to take your DNA and splatter it into, like, melt it inside you, and your DNA is going to be gone. And like, it's like, we get it. We get a DNA bomb. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. The word bomb is there. Like, and then she did a weird thing, right? She takes, I liked the line she did. She takes Ryan's phone, and she's like, I gotta format some shit. And she formats it, and she's like, "Oh, I just formatted your phone." He's like, "All my stuff was in there." She's like, "Man, not anymore." I thought that was such a good line. She was so nonchalant. Like, it's not now. And then she zaps herself in the neck with the phone, getting rid of the DNA bomb.
Yeah,
and then but then she doesn't do it to anyone else.
I didn't notice that.
She just leaves. And I guess off screen, everyone got rid of their DNA bombs because they don't come back as a plot point.
Yeah, so
they were just there to make the Doctor wake up. I don't remember them ever coming back or getting rid of them.
Yeah, it eventually goes into Tim Shaw, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then that's their focus.
Yeah. That's a good point. I never noticed that.
Yeah, it's the downside to some of Chibnall's stuff is there's shit like that.
It's almost as if it didn't need to be there in the first place.
It was just a plot convenience to make the Doctor get out of bed. Because we can't have the Doctor not do anything for half an episode. That would be insane. We'd have to give our companions personalities. But we cut back to man that can't feel the cold and isn't super strong, and that's how we got the alien pod into his van. And we see Tim Shaw, which... is such a dumb alien name. I kind of like it. I think his actual alien name's like Schlimschla or something.
Yeah, it's something like in a foreign tongue, but
it sounds like Tim Shaw, and it was such a great exchange with the Doctor where she was trying to figure out what she was hearing. She's like, Tim Shaw? You just an alien called Tim? Like, it was so good. But what did you think, before we saw Tim Shaw's face, what did you think of his cool... I was about to, like, imprint my own fucking thoughts on you. What did you think of his costume?
It kind of reminded me a bit too much of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Because there's a point where he holds out his hand and it begins to light up, and I'm like, yeah, this is Iron Man.
It's Iron Man if he had sex with, like, a spider.
But yeah, I thought it looked pretty decent.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty decent as well. Right up until he takes off that mask. I thought it looked decent.
I don't mind it. I understand what we're trying to achieve. Like, you see the implant of the victims, of how many victims he's killed over the years. And it's a kid's show, so you can't really get away with showing, like, human flesh or anything like that. The teeth are, like, the least gruesome part of the body to show off.
I thought it looked really good in the close-up of him, where you could see all the teeth and you could see his weird black teeth and stuff, and it looked really cool. And then whenever it's in like a wide and he's moving around, it looks like the cheapest, shittiest costume.
Right.
But
it's a good thing he keeps his helmet on for most of the episode. Then
that's probably why he keeps it on for most of the episode. Really, I mean, it's because his planet runs colder and his people are cold or something. Like whatever. Tim Shaw kills the guy that took his alien pod for some reason, and we cut to. There's a lot of dark, misty junkyard stuff in this episode, and it's making it hard for me to figure out where they are.
Yeah, it is. It is dark for most of the episode. It's like, yeah.
Oh, okay, right. So they're in a random warehouse. Don't remember how they got to this warehouse. And Jodi sends Ryan and Yaz off to go do some shit. And she keeps Graham and Grace. And this is where she makes her sonic screwdriver. This is the point we're at in the episode where she handcrafts her sonic screwdriver in a pretty fun montage. It's
the first time we've ever seen how a sonic screwdriver is built, so it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, usually the Doctor lets the TARDIS do it.
Yes, it's usually just off screen.
Yeah, and then the TARDIS is like, ding, it's done. Like that's how Capaldi got his. The TARDIS went, ding, here's a new one. And I think that's also how Matt Smith got his one. It's just like a little like, there you go. But Jodi handcrafts her one, and I think personally it looks like dog shit.
It's kind of like the joke in Stephen Moffat's Curse of Fatal Death, where the Doctor brings out her sonic screwdriver because she just regenerated into a woman, and she's like, "Oh, it has 3 settings. It kind of looks like a penis." Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it does.
It also has veins.
Yeah,
it also has veins.
Yeah, it does. And it lights up for your pleasure. But it's I don't think it's as bad looking as what Capaldi's one looked like. But at least Capaldi's one. I mean, to be fair, Jodi doesn't use her sonic barely either. As well, and I think it's because they know it looks like shit. But Capaldi never used his new one when he got it, and his one was the worst looking one.
I just like this scene for it showing that the Doctor is like a resourceful character. She's able to create a sonic screwdriver out of some scrapyard and alien technology.
It's also probably the most iconic she's looked outside of her actual costume with those big ass fucking goggles on.
Yes, when I first saw the shot of her with the goggles, I was like, please make this the costume, because it looks great. It looks awesome. The
goggles really suit her Doctor. Especially because compared to most Doctors, she's handy, and she builds shit. And if she's the Doctor that builds shit, that's a good personality. Like,
do we ever see her build anything again?
Not to my knowledge.
So. Like, it could have been we hardly ever see the scientist side of the Doctor. And I think we need to see a bit more of it, because that could be Jodie's defining trait. She just builds stuff. Yeah,
she doesn't. It would be a lot cooler rather than having a Doctor that has a sonic that fixes everything. She actively built stuff to fix things.
I do like that I do like what she calls the sonic screwdriver what did she call it? A sonic.
Oh, I don't remember.
Army knife.
Oh, I never picked up on that.
And I think that's a better term for it, because it initially it was a screwdriver, but now it does anything. And I think calling it a sonic army knife.
It's not as catchy.
Is a better name.
It needs to be alliterated. Sonic screwdriver. It's the double S. It sounds nice. And for Jodie's Doctor, she really likes the SS. But
God, no.
They fucking end up finding. Okay, they end up apparently finding the dead guy's body that Tim Shaw killed. And Jodi's like, oh no, a dead body. And then the weirdest thing, right? And obviously they do it so they can find out Tim Shaw has been sticking people's teeth in her face. Jodi's like, they took a tooth out. Why would they ever take a tooth out? And then when she's confronting Tim Shaw, she's like, there's something I want to bring up with you that I'm curious about. No, I'm offended about. Why the teeth? Why kill someone and then take their teeth? Like that, like the teeth is where she draws the line. It's just like, you can kill them, but keep the teeth, god damn it. I don't get why she was so offended by the teeth, but it was for the plot point, you know?
I understand it being a bit... I understand her having that question, just trying to understand why
it's a bit,
the teeth happens.
It's a bit yucky, but it's such a weird thing to be actively offended about. But yeah, we then cut to a weird scene where there's a drunk guy not eating his kebab, and I guess was it a kebab? I don't know what he had. He was throwing up salad stuff. What do you have that produces that much salad at late at night from a takeout?
I don't know, but it was an odd scene anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what it was doing here, other than it showed that what his Iron Man hand did.
And the character was like, "Oh, your costume is shit."
Yeah, Halloween's next month, pal. And then he's like, "Have my salad," and starts throwing pieces of salad at Tim Shaw.
Like this episode is 63 minutes long. That scene could have been cut out.
Yeah, this is like a 3-minute scene, and then you'd have a nice tight 60 minutes. But yeah, and then Tim Shaw's like, "Oh, fuck you, pal. I hate salad as well." And he freezes him with his Iron Man hand by touching him on the forehead with his whole palm. And then we cut to... What happens here? Let's just press play. What happens here? The giant tentacle monster's back and they kill it? I guess they built a contraption to summon the tentacle monster, which attracts Tim Shaw. I honestly don't remember. But they're on a rooftop and Tim Shaw's there. And this is where the doctor has her confrontation with him, where she's like, "Why'd you take the teeth, you fucking freak?" And he's like, "I love teeth. I'm the teeth man." Which he is. He is the teeth man. Do you remember what species he belonged to?
Was it ever brought up?
Yep, it was brought up. It was like the reason he collects teeth. I don't remember what the name was, but it's another one of Chibnall's like dumb-sounding aliens. Where he's like, I belong...
Was it the name of the final episode?
Ooh.
Remember when he returns and there's...
Oh, I forgot he came back.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the Battle of Ranskur Avkolos, but that's the worst name. That's the worst name. I don't remember what his species name was, but it was like a... but anyway, he's called Tim Shaw, and that's funny. Haha. He wants to collect something that they're guarding. I think it's the data from it's the tentacle monster. It's the cable monster. Also, just looking at his costume now, he's got like a toaster on his back.
Does he?
I'll share my screen with you. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see this?
Oh my god, yeah.
Look, he's got like a toaster on his back.
I guess it's to vent his
the heat and keep him cool. But it's like also toast some nice bagels while he's out. But yeah, Tim Shaw gets the tentacle monster back because the Jodi's like, "You're never getting it back. We're gonna guard this and we're gonna defeat you." And then he's like, "I'll zap you," and she's like, "There you go, sir," and gets out this way. And then we cut to Mr. I Am Special, because it turns out Tim Shaw's like hunter. He's from a species of hunting people.
Yeah, and then he uses the machine as a cheating device to keep track of people.
Yeah, because if he hunts this guy, he's gonna become the leader.
It's very complicated.
It was such a complicated thing. As an excuse to have an alien come down and hunt a guy. But yeah, he's hunting the guy that was on the ship, the train, not the ship, the train with Graham and Grace. We see him. He's a crane operator, and he's listening to a calm podcast that's like, "You are special. You're worth something." And he's like, "I am special. I am worth something." And that's his.
I kind of love it. I love it.
It's kind of charming in its own wee, like, no human beings like this way.
It's kind of like Amy Pond praying to Santa.
Yeah.
It's just Doctor Who oddities.
Yeah. That's weird, like, no one's really like this in real life. But everyone starts running off to the place where he works. He notices Tim Shaw climbing up the crane. Did they ever explain how they knew where he worked, or were they just following Tim Shaw?
Dude, I watched this episode like 3 hours ago. The episode is so hard to remember because there's so much denseness.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of, like, rooms full of 6 people, and all of them are talking.
Yeah.
And they're all giving exposition. So yeah, it's a lot of information to try and figure out. But basically, Tim he's gonna get you as he's climbing up the fucking crane. The Doctor's chasing as well. And then it led to a scene that I really liked, where the Doctor's on top of an opposite crane. Mr. I'm Worth It Man's climbed out of his crane to escape Tim Shaw, who's climbing up. And they haven't quite lined up, and she's like, "You've got to jump. You have to jump across to make it." And this was like a moment where I was like, "Oh, she feels like the Doctor." And then when, like, Tim Shaw grabs him and stops him from running across, and she's like, "Well, fuck it, I'm gonna jump." And she, like, that moment where she's, like, running and she goes to jump, I'm like, this is one of the best moments her Doctor has had. This is such a cool moment for her as the Doctor, and probably her defining moment in this episode, that where I believe, like, yes, that is the Doctor. She's the Doctor now. And it takes a while to get to that moment. But she jumps. She doesn't quite make it, and she has the great line of, "Well, my legs definitely used to be longer," which I really enjoyed. But she climbs up onto the crane. She has another discussion with Tim Shaw about something. I don't remember what they were talking about. Basically, killing is bad.
It's a lot of exposition again. Like, I find it hard to tune in with the exposition, and, like,
I found it really, this episode, I was really into it for the first quarter or so, and then, like, basically just after Jodi fell asleep on the couch, the episode was really starting to lose my attention, and I kept coming back and forth, and I found myself looking at my phone. I was like, fuck, I need to be watching the episode. And so, like, there's a lot of stuff in it where it's just not as gripping as, like, the 11th hour. I was so into the 11th hour when I watched it.
Because the 11th hour has sort of like a time device. It's like 20 minutes to save the world, and it's amplifying all the emotions, and it's going at a speed, consistent speed. Whereas this episode keeps on stopping.
This episode's also all at nighttime. After they get on the train, it's nighttime. So the whole episode's dark.
Apart from the bike ride.
Yeah, the whole episode's, like, really dark.
Which I guess it's easier to film at night.
Yeah. But and, like, all the locations, like, in the 11th hour, we had this whole town. We got to explore this whole village, and the locations of this one are house, cliffside, junkyard.
Yeah. Like, even in Rose, we still had a lot of variety.
You got to see, like, a lot of London, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas, there's not a lot of locations here. It looks pretty. You know, they have nice cameras and nice effects and nice lights and stuff, but location-wise, it's just kind of meh. But the Doctor shouts at Tim Shaw about something. She calls him out for cheating.
Yeah.
I don't remember what her speech was she gave here, but there was a great moment where she's basically got him on the back foot, and she's like, "I'm going to win with words." And what did we say his name was? Clark?
Carl.
What was it?
Carl.
Carl. I knew it was a cuss. See, if only it was Lenny, then I would get it. But it was Carl.
Not Lenny.
Carl, does he throw Tim Shaw off the fucking thing? He does something to kill him. Because he kills him and he's like, I am special. And then
the doctor's like, oh, you should have done that.
Jodi has the great line where she was like, you shouldn't have killed, you had no right to kill him. And then we never see Carl again. Did Jodi kill Carl?
Oh god, it's a reference to the 12th Doctor, isn't it?
Yeah. You know,
No.
Is she a good man? Did she throw him off the fucking cliff? But we also see Grace defeat the cable monster by electrocuting it, and this is where she gets zapped back, and she dies, and she falls to her death, and she runs up to Graham, and they have a very touching moment. And I don't remember what was said specifically, but I remember it being like, oh, this is actually like impactful. Like
She says, promise me you won't be scared. He says, what do you mean? Grace says, without me. And I think it was very sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked it. And I liked Grace. I get why she died. She was basically there to die. And they set it up at the start with the YouTube video.
She did come back as a talking frog.
What? I don't
remember.
No.
There's an episode, like episode 6 or 7, where they're in Norway, and there's like this alien that kind of processes grief, and it manifests itself as a frog with Grace's voice, and it sits on a chair.
I remember nothing about that, apparently.
Doctor Who frog chair. I'll see if I can find a clip.
The Solitrax is a frog who talks like Grace.
My own form is endless, but this frog is a form that delights me, as it once delighted Grace.
I don't I don't remember this happening. I don't remember that happening at all. But apparently it did. So yeah, the Doctor spoke to Frog Grace at one point, and then she also comes back as a ghost at the end of season 12.
Yeah.
Because Grace was a Jedi all along. And she...
Oh my god, it is very much like the Rise of Skywalker, isn't it?
But after that loving scene, we cut back to the YouTube video where we find out it was all for Grace. He was basically doing a memorial for his dead gran. It's very touching. And then we see him trying to learn.
And 2 people disliked it.
Yeah, 2 people disliked it. Classic YouTube. We see him trying to learn how to ride his bike by himself and falling over, and then we weirdly cut to the Doctor stalking him. She's just kind of looking at him from a distance, I guess, to decide if she wants to come.
It's kind of like Obi-Wan looking over Luke at the end of episode 3.
Yeah. And then we cut to Graham giving his eulogy at the funeral.
It's really sad.
It's really good. It's such a good performance from him as well.
And there's also no music, so it's like really uncomfortable to watch, but in a good way. Obviously, it's like
you focus on the performance more than anything.
He is really the best actor of the show at this point. At that point, anyway.
Yeah, he's also out of the 3 fam, the strongest companion. You know.
Yeah.
He's charming and likable, and he's got his problems and stuff like that. And there's actually a thing that I skipped over that I want to mention. There's just this weird bit where Graham gets really annoyed with Ryan, and he like fucking starts shouting at him, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna blame this on your dyspraxia as well?"
Yes, I thought it was awful.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, Graham.
I wrote that down as well. It's so out of character for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it was like, yeah, it's completely left field. Like, oh, I don't believe your disability is real. Like
throughout the episode, he's like, "Oh, I wish you would call me Granddad." He blames him for accidentally almost causing an alien invasion.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's not his fault.
Yeah, it was so weird, and then it never comes back. He never acts like that again. Like,
Yeah, it's so awkward.
it was such a weird moment, but he gives a really nice eulogy and a really strong performance, and then afterwards we find out that he's a cancer survivor, and that's how he met Grace. She was his what do you call it, chemo nurse. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is really touching. And Graham with cancer is a thing that they never got right.
Oh god, yes.
Yeah, they never. And it brings us back to that really bad Jodi bit, where is it this season or is it next?
I think it's next season. It's like halfway through season 12.
Yeah,
It's just
where like he sits down with her and he's chatting. Does he say that he's got cancer again, or he's worried it's back?
I think cancer came back and he starts being really scared about it.
Yeah.
And he's looking for some words of comfort, and the doctor's like, "Oh no, I'm too awkward to say anything."
Yeah, she's like,
The episode.
yeah.
The episode just ends.
Yeah, it's so bad, and then it never gets resolved, and then he just goes off and learns how to ride the bike with Ryan.
Yeah.
It never gets resolved, it never gets brought back up, and there was the perfect moment for Jodi to give a phenomenal speech as the Doctor right there.
Yeah.
And yeah, they really
It's so easy. It's so easy to write a speech being like, "Oh, Graham, you're so brave.
yeah,
Like,
you're
you
full
can
of
write a
life.
speech in,
You
like,
can
5
overcome
minutes."
this. You've beat this before. You're stronger. And yeah, things are scary now, but we can get through it together because we're the fam. You could be as cheesy as you fucking want with it. Just don't be like, emotions.
Yeah.
Which is so out of character for Jodie's Doctor as well.
It really is. Yes.
Yeah, that bit, they never really nailed Graham's cancer motivation right, and but at least he had a personality and a background, unlike Yaz, who still has none of those things.
Yeah. Like, I can't think of a single thing Yaz did.
And she had a family in some flats.
Like in the mental health episode last series, which is also the episode where Graham has a speech with the Doctor, she had a bit where she's like ready to run away from home. I think she's about to commit suicide.
Yeah,
is the undertones of that scene.
Yeah.
That's something at least, but we never really do much outside of that. We don't really give her much character.
Yeah, they set up a lot of stuff to make it really good and never end up following through.
Yeah. Like even in the episode with her family, it's more about her family than it's about her. Like, we still don't understand who she is deep down.
Then we cut to a scene with Yaz chatting to the Doctor, and she said something I wholeheartedly disagreed with. She said to Jodie's Doctor that she's like, "We need to get you out of those clothes," which, one way, Yaz and the Doctor, I bet there's a lot of stuff there, but more she was talking about the costume in particular. And I actually think, and I was thinking this the whole episode, out of every Doctor, Jodie looked the best in the previous Doctor's clothing. She pulled off Capaldi's outfit, I think, better than Capaldi did.
Yeah, she looks great in it.
She looks so good in it. It's like she really pulled it off. But the outfit she eventually chooses, it's the iconic one. I love the, what are they called? Suspenders. Suspenders.
Yeah.
I love her suspenders. I think her outfit's great. Her jacket's really nice. It's a good outfit. What do you think of her outfit?
It's a costume that shows how out of touch the Doctor is with fashion, but yet it doesn't go too overboard. Because you could have gone really dangerously close to the Colin Baker outfit, being like just an eyesore. But it's quite understated while also being overstated, if that makes sense. It doesn't go too far in either direction.
At first glance, you're like, yeah, it looks fine. If you actually stop and look at what she's wearing, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, her trousers specifically are, like, they cut off like at the quarter way through her calf, and then it's such a weird trousers, but
it really works.
Yeah.
It's like a Fourth Doctor scarf. It's ridiculous, but it works. It's not too ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's really good. My favorite person in this entire scene was Ryan. I thought he was fucking hysterical. He's like on his phone this whole time, and then when Jodi comes out like, "This is it," Yaz is like, "Really?" And like fucking Ryan's like, "Yeah, okay." Like he just doesn't care at all. He's like, "Yeah, you look fine, whatever." I was like, it's like so the best Ryan.
I really do miss the scenes of the Doctor trying to pick out his or her outfit, because we don't do it too much. Like, I remember when the fourth Doctor regenerates, he comes out in like a big Viking hat with a big horned helmet. And at one point he comes out like dressed as a king.
Amazing.
Like, we really need more of that kind of Doctor Who thing.
This is also, to my knowledge, they might have done it in Old Who, Classic Who even, the first Doctor that's just bought their clothes instead of using the TARDIS's wardrobe.
Well,
Matt Smith stole his clothes.
So did I think Pertwee stole his clothes as well.
Mm-hmm. Tennant was the TARDIS wardrobe though. Eccleston, we have to assume, was the TARDIS wardrobe.
Yeah, I think it's the first time the Doctor bought the outfit.
Well, I mean, she had someone buy them for her, but
true.
Yeah, she didn't just steal them or just have them.
Does the Doctor ever have money?
Why would they need money? They're traveling so far through time.
Yeah, but he or she sometimes buys stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I liked it in Eccleston has an episode where they go to the future. It's the one with Simon Pegg. And he just has a credit stick, and he just sonics it so it has infinite money.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that solves all your problems there. But then you don't want to approach like Batman and Robin territory where she has like a Doctor Who credit card.
Oh God!
I can see them doing that. I can see them doing that now. God damn it! But I think Capaldi is the only Doctor we never really see pick out an outfit, and his outfit changed every season.
Yeah.
Like Matt Smith's outfit changed as well, but we saw him pick out like a new jacket and stuff. But,
yeah. My memory is bad. I can't remember any of this.
Yeah, I don't remember Capaldi ever picking out an outfit, but he took a while to get a good outfit. His first one was very magician.
Yeah, it was a total callback to the third Doctor's outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the third Doctor's outfit.
I really liked his last outfit though when he was Professor Doctor.
Professor Doctor is the best Doctor.
Yeah, Professor Doctor was great. Second only to Rockstar Doctor, which I loved.
No.
I love him riding a tank playing electric guitar. I'm sorry, it's so good.
It's too over the top for me.
I really enjoyed it. But the Doctor chooses her outfit, and then they're in another warehouse where the Doctor's built something again. She actually built something again, which she builds this machine. I guess the plan is to teleport them to the TARDIS because the TARDIS is missing. I don't remember what their exact plan was, but I'm assuming it was to teleport into the TARDIS. Yes,
in Doctor Who style, she overshot it.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Yeah, and the teleport works kind of, in that it teleports, but then we cut and we see everyone is standing in space and suffocating, and the Doctor's like, "Oh fuck," and that's where the episode ends. I thought it's an awesome cliffhanger. I didn't remember that being the cliffhanger, and I was like, "Oh, fuck! I kind of want to watch the next episode." That was good.
And I also like it it's the first episode we don't see the new TARDIS, and we don't see the new theme song. It's like two of the biggest things we want to see as an audience, and we kind of save that till next week. I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was a really strong way to end the episode, in that it's like, the Doctor started falling to Earth, and she ends floating in space. She's no time to rest. She's like...
Did you see the end of the episode, by the way, where it's a coming soon trailer? Mm-hmm. But instead of showing anything about the following few episodes, they just show a bunch of guest stars.
Yeah, and the theme song ran out, and they had to loop it awkwardly because it just keeps going on, and it was a really jarring cut.
Like the thing is, I don't recognize any of the guest stars apart from Alan Cumming. Like,
Really?
why would they sell it on?
Oh, I recognize a
why would
lot
they,
of them.
like, why would they sell it on the guest stars rather than
selling
the
on
plots
selling
of-
on the guest stars was weird. There were some good ones though. Mark Addy's the first one they show. He's a really famous man. He was the king in the first season of Game of Thrones, which I don't know if you've seen.
I've seen. Yeah, I saw the first season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he was.
But I don't recognize him.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, he was the king in Game of Thrones. Julie Hesmondach. That's a really hard last name. Don't know if I pronounced it right. Basically, the casting that they showed was like famous actor, someone that's on Broadchurch. Famous actor, someone that's on Broadchurch. That's literally what it was like. And so many of these people were on Broadchurch. I was like, but yeah, the casting thing went on for a while, and it ended on Chris Noth, who plays the fucking annoying as shit Donald Trump stand-in character.
At least he wasn't as bad in his recent appearance, but
the fact they brought him back, though. But yeah,
Arachnid's appearance was awful.
Yeah, it's such a bad episode, Arachnids in the UK.
But I didn't remember this, and I guess the John Noble thing at the end of the last episode makes more sense now, because I guess it's kind of tradition for him to do this.
I guess, yeah. It was, yeah, it's weird. I much prefer seeing the teaser for what's coming. I thought it was really weirdly edited together. This
They also really needed a teaser, because this is where a lot of people jumped ship.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, because it's not the best episode.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the end of The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Now, I'll give my quick thoughts on it, then I'll give it to you. I thought it was broadly fine. I think there was definitely some issues with it and some plot conveniences that we discovered as we were chatting, like the collarbone bombs, and stuff like that. I think Jodi is really good as the Doctor, still trying to find her feet. She has glimmers here where she's like, that's the Doctor, that's your Doctor, use that as your Doctor, and they don't really ever fully commit to anything. I think her companions are broadly okay. Bland, Graham's the best one, but again, they've all got their problems. Comparing it to the other two, like, season reboot things that we've looked at, by and far, this one's the weakest. It sucks how much it's the weakest. Because it's still good, it's still fine, but it's just missing something that the other ones had that I can't quite describe.
I feel very much the same way. Like, I enjoy it, but it's something I saw 3 hours ago and I barely remember it. Whereas with the 11th Hour and Rose, I could remember those episodes forever. Like, they're iconic.
Yeah, those are.
And
yeah, I'll let you talk.
The episodes are just nothing spectacular. It's just average, which is fine. Most Doctor Who episodes are average, and it's just hard to. I agree with you. It's just hard to try and decipher what is missing from it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was listening to the Rose episode that came out 2 weeks ago, and the start of that, when you were like going over the episode, I'm like, I watched this 2 weeks ago, and we're just chatting about it like scene by scene. I don't even have the iPlayer up when we're going through it. We're just going through it. We know it that well, and obviously, rewatches and stuff like that. But it left that big of an impact, and it's that memorable. And like, I think like Eccleston shines as the Doctor in his first episode. He's got that great speech, and then Matt Smith's the same. He absolutely shines. And then with this one, it's just doesn't quite shine, and it's not her fault. When she gets that brief moment on the fucking cranes, she's fantastic. But yeah, there's just something about it which I don't think they've really fixed in her show yet. I really hope they do for her third season, but
yeah, so do I. It's just very awkward to talk about, because it's like there's nothing really to attach yourselves to. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing great about it. It's just sits in the middle of mediocre.
Yeah, it sits in the middle of mediocre. How does it compare to other season openings? I think it's probably on the weaker ends, to be fair, as well.
Well, let me have a look at it.
Okay, no. The worst season opening ever in New Who is fucking Capaldi's first episode, Deep Breath. Is that his first one? No.
Yeah.
Yes, that's his first one. The one with the dinosaur in Victorian London.
Yeah.
That
okay.
episode is too long and sucks.
I haven't seen that one since it first came out, and I remember really liking it because I saw that at the cinema.
Oh.
So I guess seeing it on the big screen was like part of the experience of watching it.
It's like an hour and a half long, if I remember correctly. Like
it's like 75 minutes.
Yeah, it's far too long. I think that's the worst season opening we've had. But I think this one probably comes in second. Cause like
what are the other season openers?
Like Jodi's second season, Spyfall, part 1 at least. I really enjoyed.
My microphone fell.
Oh, right.
That's it.
I really enjoyed Spyfall Part 1. And Part 2. But I think Part 1's where the twist comes in.
Yeah.
With the Master coming back, and that was exciting as fuck.
Spyfall was good to begin with, but it kind of goes into unfocused. Like at one point it wants to be a proper spy parody. And then you have a subplot with Stephen Fry. He gets killed off, and it's about Master and history, and
it's all over the place. And the second part's not great, but
it could have been like 5 separate episodes.
Yeah, I mean, Jodi's entire second season's on and off with goodness. It's all over the place. But let's look at the season openings. So obviously, season 1 was Rose, which
fantastic,
so good. Season 2 opens with New Earth, the Christmas special. Oh, no, sorry, that's not the Christmas special. Christmas special is the Christmas Invasion, you fucking idiot, Matthew. What happens in New Earth?
It's the one with the cat people in the future, and the face of Bo is there, and it's like there's a plague infecting the hospital.
Yeah. I think it's fine.
It's okay.
I like the Cassandra jumping into the Doctor and Rose's body. That's really fun.
Series 2 wasn't great in general, in my opinion.
I'm currently watching through season 2 right now, and you're absolutely correct. It's
like School Reunion was pretty good.
Girl in the Fireplace is the best episode in that season.
And then it kind of just drops in quality from there.
Rise and Age of Steel, Rise of Cyberman, Age of Steel are okay. Idiot Lantern is okay. Currently on Impossible Planet and Satan Pit, and it's okay.
Love and Monsters is better than people give it credit for.
I'm looking forward to rewatching it, and maybe we'll do a podcast episode on it as well at some point. Because it's there's not really a Doctor Who episode like it.
Yeah, I like it for that reason. It's different.
Yeah, I'll see how I am rewatching it, but I remember really not liking it, so we'll see. Season 3 opens with Smith and Jones. I like that. I like that one. I like the Jadoon on the moon.
The old lady with the straw is great.
Yeah, that was so fun. I remember that fucking scaring the shit out of me when I was a kid. It's so creepy.
Partners in Crime is great.
Partners in Crime is fantastic. I love Donna so much. One of the best companions, hands down. Season 5, 11th Hour.
Yes.
We've said amazing. Season 6, Impossible Astronaut. I love it. I think it's such a good opening.
Yeah, great 2-parter.
Mm-hmm. Season 7, Asylum of the Daleks. Pretty good.
No.
I don't really remember what happened.
No, it's just...
Is that the one where Clara's a Dalek?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's okay.
And then there's a whole subplot with Amy and Rory having a divorce for no reason.
I don't remember the subplot. We'll have to cover it at some point. I don't remember.
And then the episode ends with the Daleks forgetting the Doctor, which is never brought up again.
Yeah, but it's like it's like when Matt Smith got the Power Ranger Daleks. They're also never brought up again.
Like the ending of Asylum is just a Dalek screaming Doctor Who.
I don't remember that. Weird. Season 8 opens with Deep Breath. I think it's too long. And also, it's such a bad season of Doctor Who. Holy fuck. Just looking at those episodes, Capaldi got it rough on his first season, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Season 9 is The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar.
I really like both of those so much.
I would say 25% of them are good. I just do not like the Dalek parts. I like the Davros parts, apart from the part where he meets baby Davros and does the whole Genesis of the Daleks thing again.
I loved the bit where, I think is it this two-parter? Where he has to save Kid Davros from...
Yes.
I absolutely... That was such a good moment for Capaldi's Doctor, you know?
I don't like that.
Really?
It's just a rehash of Genesis of the Daleks.
I thought it was so good.
And then there's a whole thing where apparently the casing of the Daleks is why the Daleks are evil, rather than the Daleks themselves.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Clara's in the Dalek and she says words and it translates to exterminate?
Yeah, you know, it's not great, but I loved the moral, like, questioning of Capaldi having to save basically Hitler as a kid, and having to make that decision, like, I have to save you because that's the right thing to do. I know you're a piece of shit. I know what you're going to do, but I'm a good man. He finally found out he's a good man.
the concept just works so much better in Genesis. Have you ever seen Genesis, by the way?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, we need to watch Genesis at some point. It's the best episode of all time for a reason.
Interesting. I look forward to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Season 9, the thing I liked about Season 9 is also the thing I hate about Season 9 is every episode's a two-parter. And I remember that pissing me off when I first watched it.
Moffat changes format every year.
Yeah. Like, the thing that got me is Season 8, everyone said the episodes were too episodic and never really connected. And Moffat was like, okay, fuck it, every episode's a two-parter. Season 10 opened with The Pilot. I think it's fine. It's fine. Real middle child opening to a season. You know, Bill's okay. I like Professor Doctor. And then Season 11 is The Woman Who Fell to Earth, like we said. And Season 12 is Skyfall.
I would say out of the 12 openings, 1 being the best, 12 being the bottom, I would say Jodi's The Woman Who Fell to Earth is like 7, 8, or 9, round about that area.
Yeah. Closer to the bottom than the top.
Yeah.
Which is rough for...
But
it's rough for an opening of Doctor Who. It's not as rough as Capaldi had it. And I ended up loving... Capaldi's one of my favourite Doctors ever. Like, I ended up absolutely adoring him as the Doctor. And I really want to do that with Jodi. I really want her season to be good.
So do I.
Yeah.
But I think that's it.
We've talked for like 2 hours again. God damn.
Well, you needed to go get water, so it's more like an hour and a half, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll wrap it up. This has been Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast. What are we doing next week, Scott? I didn't have the...
We are doing the news.
Is it the news?
But the week after that. Not next week for us, but next week for the audience.
Yes, it is the news. We're doing the news next week. There's a lot of news. I've been getting so much emails.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
From Big Finish specifically. They've been doing a lot of shit.
Right, yeah.
Yes, it's the news next week. As it's the end of the month, that's the lovely roundup thing that we do. We'll be chatting about the news. And then we will be back with a regular episode on the 2nd of July with a 5th Doctor story, The Resurrection of the Daleks.
It's not the best Peter Davison story. It's not the worst story. It's more in the middle, but it's a really good story, I think. It's probably the darkest Doctor Who has ever gotten.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because I've never seen a 5th Doctor story before, so...
It's also the 40th year of the Peter Davison Doctor, so it'll be interesting to jump right into it.
Yeah, see what he was
It also has police brutality, which, as we know, never was a problem after the 80s. there was no police brutality after the 80s.
I don't even know what police brutality means.
Doctor Who was never political.
But yeah, you got that to look forward to. You can find us on Twitter at WatchesWho, or at Who Watches. I think that's it. On Facebook, Who Watches Who. On YouTube, Who Watches Who. This podcast is available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts in audio form. We're on the Spotify. We're on the other podcast apps. We've got an RSS feed. We've got on Google Podcasts. We're everywhere you can find us. If you can't find us, I'd be impressed. You can follow me on Twitter at Cloth223. You got anything else to add, Scott?
If you have a question or a comment on anything we've been covering, send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com. I will read it out in the news show.
Yeah, we'll read your emails.
Send us an email, please.
Yeah, make us feel important. Send us your emails. But other than that, I got nothing else to add.
No. See you next time.
See you next week. Bye bye.